and welcome to Concrete Mountain Scrap More with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and today we're going to be showing you how to sew these rows together. Now my fall palette has coming together really quite lovely, and I'm just dying to show you how this is all done. One of the things I caution people, because these are all on a bias, when you hold it up, have it supported. You know, don't stretch it because it's still bias, right? So we don't want the pieces all stretching. But this is where we're at on my newest, latest, greatest creation. This is the one we're aiming for. So we just have a little bit left to do, and then we can sew on the border. Now, so your assignment this week will be to finish up putting your missing sashing, because I know everybody's busy and they got a life, and wow, all we do is sew and work. And then sewing your rows together. Remember, if you're doing the 5 rows, you only have 4 long seams to do, but you got to fill in your rest of your sashing. Also, if you're working on a piece border, like some people have mentioned they're working on a piece border, like a piano key border, make sure that's done, because next week we're putting on borders. So come on a little closer. I can't wait to show you how this is done, and it's so simple. Okay, so as you can see, I've already lined up this next area I'm going to sew. Now remember, when you're sewing your rows together, you line up the very first beginning part, and you only worry about the 3 inches that you're going to sew. You don't worry about the entire row. You just do this part of the row. And then once you get to this part of the row, then you readjust and you fix and you fiddle and you move this around and manipulate very gently, because remember, these pieces are biased, and you get the next piece pinned, right? But today we're just going to do 1 3-inch step at a time. And you really only have 4 long rows. And that's what you're going to have next week too when we're doing the border. Or you're only going to have the 3 long rows. You're not going to have, or the 4 long rows, you know, to do up your borders. So we are almost at the end. But you only have to worry about this 3 inches at a time. Okay, something went awry. Here we go. And I'm putting through my handover knots. And I'm going to sew along to that center pin. And like I say, it's very easy to manipulate, and you know, you don't worry. I sew something like this at night on my lap. I don't have it sewn where it's unsupported, because I don't know, I'm not sure where all the biases are, so I just say, okay, the whole thing is bias. So we're just we are very careful with it not to stretch it too much, because you know, you kind of worry about, if you start stretching it too much, you're going to have a heck of a time putting on your border. It will be awful, I guarantee it. Okay, now this is one of those extended flying geese. So what I'm doing is, I'm going to get ready to do my knot. So I've come up just a thread above where my point is. Then I take my thread from the back, do a handover knot, or slip it under, a slip knot, and then I do 2 handovers, just like that. Very quick. Okay, now I go down through all the layers right beside it, like just a thread above, and I push this seam out of the way and come up. I do a slip knot, or a slip, where I put my needle and under the needle, the front of the needle, and 2 handovers because I cross the seam, and then I race to the next needle. So how is your New Year's so far? How is January treating you? I'm hoping everything is going well for you, and if it's not, I'm so sorry. Let me know in the comments below how things are going. And things here are pretty quiet. I mean, we had a very quiet Christmas, a very quiet New Year's. Our province here of Alberta was locked down for Christmas because of COVID. I don't imagine anybody wants to hear COVID stats, but yeah. I got a lot of sewing done. I got a lot of hand sewing done, so that was good. You know, that made me happy. And it kept me calm. So, we're getting to the pin. We come up right there on the pin. Then we take our needle from the back. We do the slip knot. Go in front and we pull through 2 hand over knots. And another one, and then we slip through right where the dot is on the diamond. Okay, we stop. Now, this is one advantage hand piecers have over machine piecers, is that we just adjust and we fluff and we manipulate just a bit, and we line up our dots, we take a sip of our tea, you know, we chat for a bit, and we start lining it up instead of having to worry about what you're going to do with that Y seam on a sewing machine, right? This is all there is to it. Now, if there's there's no wow, there shouldn't be a wow or bubble, but if there is, just ease it in. This is not a stressful hobby unless you make it into a stressful hobby. This quilt here is going to go to one of my grandkids when they're older, so it's going to go into a hope chest. So I do my slip knot. I take the thread from the back of the needle, because I've crossed the seam, go under, and 2 hand over knots, and we're off to the races again. So these quilts, I'm hoping to get some, like, hope chests. I don't know what they call them when you give them to a grandson, but like hope chests of, and just fill them with hand-stitched quilts, hand-pieced quilts, hand-quilted, you know, hand-quilted, hand-pieced. Hopefully it'll be something that they remember. They certainly love the quilts they get now from me, so I'm hoping that tradition kind of carries on. But, yeah. We did see our grandchildren at Christmas time, and we had a lovely, lovely time. So I was happy. I'll be happy for a while. I'll be happy to see them again, but I might not be able to do that right away. The weather here in Alberta is really cold. Really, really cold. I'm in Alberta, Canada, so in case you're wondering, I'm happy to be in Canada, but sometimes when you're happy it warms up to minus 37. Something is wrong, you know, so yeah, we had some horrific, horrible cold here. It went down to minus 55 with the wind chill. It was awful. You know, I didn't step outside my house, so I was just too cold. It was bothering me, even being in the house, so here we go. And we're just about at the next pin. So remember, you're sewing this quilt only 3 inches at a time, right? Because that's the only part you worry about. And like I say, hand piecers get to chat with their buds as they're sewing. Well, so do machine sewers, but anyways, here we go. 1, 2. Now, because this is multiple in one point, right? So you have to know where you're going. So I'm going through the yellow, through the yellow, to the green on top, to the green on top like this. Let's see if I can get there. And up there. And now when I readjust, I'm going to get this green, match this green up against the red, right? Just like that. I hope that makes sense. If you don't, if you get lost kind of as you're putting this together, lay your rows out flat, and it'll show you very quickly. Like, I haven't got much to this row and I'm done, but so there we go. We're just gonna go like that, and we now start a new section. So that's it. I've only got to these two little bits more to go, and I'm done piecing the rows together. I do have a bunch of sashing pieces to fill in because I've got holes on the top and the bottom along the side. I didn't do that right away, but that's pretty much how you sew this, only 3 inches at a time. Okay, so that's pretty much how we're going to do this, only 3 inches at a time. That's all you have to worry about, is doing this. You take a big thing, you take a big thing and you just take small chunks, like they say, how do you eat an elephant? 1 bite at a time. That's exactly what this is. It's 1 bite at a time, 1 3-inch bite at a time. So your assignment this week is to lay out your rows. Now your rows, normally what I do is I mark my row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Now you can mark your blossoms. This goes in row 1, spot 1, row 1, spot 2, row 1, spot 3. However you decide to keep your rows in order. I just sometimes will only put pins in, just, you know, like regular pins, marking this is my row 4, or, you know, whatever. But your assignment this week, to sew your rows together, fill in the rest of your sashing holes that you have, because you might not see them right away either, you know, so you might want to get those sewn in. And if you're doing any pieced border work, that's where you need to finish, because next week we work on the border. And I'll show, there's another pattern drop for the border. If you were doing just this and you wanted the curved edges on this quilt to stay curved edges, you don't have to put a border on it. Basically, you can do this entire quilt as a pillowcase method of, you know, putting your batting in and then your backing, just like we did on the table runner. But if you're going to do that, then make sure your outside edge here has that little triangle, right, to give it support, unless you do want the point. But it's up to you how you want to do this. And you would also put your little triangles here to give it a round curve, right? So that's the way. If you want to finish it that way and not do a piece border, you can do it that way too. So yes, we'll see you next week, and we hope you have a fabulous year ahead. We're filming this January 3rd, and I think this drops somewhere in the middle of January, but it's going to be fun year. Okay, you guys take care and have a wonderful day. Bye. Hello everyone, just a quick reminder, this is the quilt we're going to start doing our sew along in the beginning of December 2021. This is a beautiful hand-pieced, hand-quilted. This is a beginner quilt for hand quilting. This is also an intermediate if you're using a sewing machine. And we're going to start this one at the beginning of December 2021. So if you're watching this 8 years from now, don't worry, it's a free pattern. It'll always remain a free pattern. We had a lot of fun doing this with our students, and we had a very enjoyable time. So if you like the videos and you like this challenge and you'd like to start a quilt along, comment below, but like, share, and subscribe with your friends. We are so happy that you're back with us if you're a subscriber. But if you're a new subscriber, please join. This is going to be so much fun. Okay, you have a great day. Bye.